time.
For what?
To travel.
Did we just do this?
Through time.
I thought we just did this and we voted like lots of S's. Huh? And you made some really good jokes and those people in the chat who just laughed really loud at it and pee themselves.
That was like 2 hours ago.
Or did I travel in time and this is before the event? Because I don't remember your jokes fine enough to re-say them, so I hope you can say the exact same amazing jokes.
Yeah, we've already done this live 2 hours ago, but now that we're finished,
Do it again.
doing it again.
Like I said, all of the jokes.
Anyway, welcome back, guys. How's it going?
Welcome.
Yeah, we're talking about time travel episodes today. We're going to rank some episodes and movies, time travel events, if you will, in Star Trek. There's a few. I don't know if you know.
Yeah.
Usually there's some of the better stories. Usually.
And possibly you can rank all of them. There isn't a million, but there are plenty. So I'm intrigued to see who comes next.
So it's up to you guys. $5 super chat to let us know your favorite time travel episode or event, and we will pull it up on screen and talk about it and rank it and have a good discussion, hopefully, because these are always fun. And you guys usually surprise us with stuff that we wouldn't necessarily think of. So looking forward to being surprised. Ta-da!
Anything can happen. But also, where is the line of time travel? That'll be up to you guys slightly.
Yeah, there are a few things like tapestry and stuff, which not really time travel because it's Q manipulated, but it kind of sort of is.
There is probably some level of travel in some sort of. I guess it could be narrative time travel. Like it.
So many flashbacks count.
No, because you're seeing the past, not traveling into the past.
Oh, okay.
Although best flashbacks would be a very niche piece of work.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to even attempt that, honestly.
It would be thoroughly intriguing, but also not at all.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, I think there's lots to discuss, and and as I said to someone today, I think for the most part these are all going to be some level of good, right? So for me personally, it's about ranking their respective quality, and not how good are they individually. Because otherwise, it might have a lot of S's, and that might be okay. But I want to gradient them on a curve of probably great. So you might have one of the best ones be a C because they are just absurdly good ones, right? That's my clarification.
Interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this shakes out because, like I said, there's some really good ones that I really enjoy. So the time travel stuff's one of my favorites in Star Trek. But there are some ones that are kind of like either forgettable or just kind of like question a mark, like what the hell were they thinking? So
I'll start sharing.
Go for it. 13 of you here, 9 likes. Hit that like button, guys. Let's get those likes up to 10. At least one more like we'll do. But you know the routine, guys. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you super chat in with your choices for time travel episodes. It helps support the channel and us, and we really appreciate that. Or you can go down and click the join button. There's a join button down there. You can join the channel on YouTube or head on over to Patreon/Trekyards. That's another way to support us on a monthly basis, and we really, really appreciate all of that. Anything you guys can do to help us out, we appreciate it. Also, make sure that you look at the options for like in the description. There are links to my personal channel as well as the Teespring and TeePublic store, Trekyards merch, all that jazz. So lots of really cool ways to interact with the channel and help us out. We really appreciate it, all of it. So also join us on Saturday. Saturday we're having a Drunkyards live to celebrate 10 years of Trekyards, because yes, October of this year is our 10-year anniversary, and it's been 10 years of talking to you fine folks, hanging out on YouTube, talking about Star Trek, and it's been fantastic. So we're going to have a Junkyard celebration in the afternoon on Saturday, so please join us for that as well, if you're able to. Kind of take a stroll down memory lane and reminisce, looking at some old videos and stuff. So make sure you join us on Saturday if you're able to. We would very much appreciate that. So
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I knew you would. I knew you would. All right.
I hadn't finished, I just want to throw that in there. I like what you're saying.
Oh.
So. Yeah, it's got Facebook.
Yeah. Well, I was done, so, but if you're not done, then I can go travel back in time and say it all again. So hit that like button, guys. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell icon to all so you don't miss any content from us live or edited, and make sure that you at least click the join button down below.
I'm done.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I'm done too.
Perfect timing. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a couple in the bank that I want you to throw in first to allow people to super chat in their thoughts and put-ins, because I love these when you guys throw in the direction, because we could go anywhere. We could just invent the ones we like, but there's some interesting ones that are like not quite what we might think, but you have personal preference or whatever. I love how you often don't throw in the obvious ones either. Sometimes kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah. We've ended many lives with like, we'll do this, we'll revisit this, and we've got like 3 or 4 sitting on the side that we had from the beginning that we figured you guys would mention.
Yep.
So
I'm okay with that. But let's start with one though, Stuart. So, what one do you want to look at first? I gave you quite a broad selection, and I also want to point out I want to do part 1 and part 2s differently, because normally they focus on different things. You know, the setup to time travel and the payoff to time travel can often be different. So, I'm including them as 2 parts when there's a 2-part story, right?
Let's start off with one of my favorites then. This program will respond to me. There we go. Little Green Men. So the Ferengi, Rom, Nog, and Quark all end up traveling back in time on their way to Earth and actually, crash at Roswell, and as a result are in the custody of the United States military. And it's basically the whole reason for the whole Roswell thing, and it's quite interesting. I love to look back. First of all, I love the Roswell incident and aliens and stuff. So this is a nice juxtaposition of Star Trek and that, and it really it works, honestly. An event like this that actually transpired like this could definitely be conceived or perceived by the public in a totally different way because of cover-ups and stuff. And I love that. And good acting, good casting in this one for the military personnel and stuff, including the gentleman from Way to Eden, the one hippie, as a colonel, which I think is hilarious. So, but yeah, some funny stuff in this, including the Ferengi translators, which are embedded in their ears. And Odo's on board as well. He's undercover as like a German Shepherd security dog. But it's really good. Like, we're from Mars. We're going to attack Earth. Are you working with the Russians? There's a lot of really good stuff in this, and it's very much the 50s kind of vibe going on. And I think it's really well done, even to the point where Quark's like, these people will buy anything. They buy these sticks that they kill themselves with, and these people are really stupid. I just think it's great to see that kind of perspective. So yeah, there's a lot really to enjoy here, and it's one of my favorites, absolute favorites. It ties in some of my favorite things.
Can you express vaguely how you're going to mentally decide what gets the top slots?
That's a good question. Probably, enjoyment factor is going to come into it pretty good, as well as staying power, and how often they're referenced. Honestly, I think it's a big deal as well. Also, the reason for the time travel, I think, should be taken into consideration, whether it's a stupid one or whether it's really kind of,
innovative,
unique and interesting. Yeah. This one, they're carrying chemosite on the ship, and it reacts with something and causes a time travel. It's interesting, but it seems kind of contrived. And that's fine. They just needed a reason for them to get back in time, instead of like a vortex or some kind of natural anomaly. I love that it was something they were carrying, kind of contributed to it. So, and it was smuggled. It was being smuggled by Quark, and the others didn't know about it.
Yeah.
So,
okay. So for this one, it's one of those ones where it's entirely derived around that premise. There's very little else in it, which in this situation, time travel stories is a blessing. So of course, it's just doing the gimmick. It is kind of a bottle show in a sense. I skimmed, and also I knew this one was coming, and it doesn't feel as expensive as it could do, but that it doesn't need to be. This is a tremendous silly episode, which they can't take seriously, but the seriousness is meted by the humans take seriously, the Ferengi don't take seriously, but also got to get home. So it is clever. It's definitely one that I don't think you think of too much because it's removed from the Trek storyline. Then it stands out because it's unique. There's nothing else like this. So it's kind of both at the same time, just kind of odd.
There is an interesting tie-in, though, with the whole Rom is studying for his Starfleet Academy stuff because he's going to be going to Earth. And he's looking at his pad and he's like, hey, this guy looks like Captain Sisko. And it's Gabriel Bell, right? So that's a cool little tie-in and crossover. But
Use the canon.
Yeah.
I think I know where I'm gonna vote, but do you want to jump in or shall I say first?
You say yours first.
So I'm edging on a low A because I think what it tries to do it does very well, but I think there are better, but this is something so special and specific that I'm happy to give it an A.
Yeah, I was thinking A as well. It stands out. It's up there, but yes, there are better ones, obviously, and we kind of have to have that contrast going on. So this was going to be an A for me right from the beginning, even though I love it so much.
I think that there's room.
Well, I'd say mid-A, but
you know what I mean. It's not almost S. It's comfortably an A, but there is room above it. Not that makes it too much of a difference.
In a personal choice one, it'd probably be an S for me, but
then if we did that, a lot of them would be for you anyway because they're fun stories, right?
Yes, I love that.
that's absolutely fine, but that's
I'm going to jump ahead of Super Chatter too because Schmobuddy puts in $2 and says the best Ferengi Shuttle episode. I mean, you're not wrong. How many Ferengi Shuttle episodes are there?
3. This is also the TNG one where you introduced to it, and then so there's a couple of things and bobs.
Yeah. So A is a good place to start out with,
yes.
And a good episode as well. So, all right. First super chat though is from Sussy Guru 2000. Voyager Relativity, which established first contact as a predestination paradox.
I don't remember them saying that, but it's a dense episode. And boy, finding a shot that represents each episode into kind of a fun challenge. So this is something you don't see every day. Annika wearing normal clothes and no implant and future tech. Time travel!
Yeah, this one gets the introduction to Utopia Planitia shipyards and so many good things. And you get to see many iterations of Janeway over the years.
The hair continuity is on point.
Yeah. And her first walk around of Voyager, which is a nice little touch.
Kind of cathartic in a way as well.
Yeah. This one definitely revisits some of the classic Voyager things during its run, and it's really fun. It's a really fun episode and adventure. So yeah, I really enjoy this one. Plus, getting to look at Utopia Planitia was awesome. Because when do you ever see it, right?
I know we've mentioned it before, but the VFX team did that off their own back. They had no budget left.
Oh, really?
And they said, well, it was originally just be a little tiny thing. They're like, no, we could just, obviously, now you can clone stuff, right? So obviously, once you build a thing, but they built that stuff for that, and they did it on purpose to be impressive. And they did several shots. That is entirely fan-generated extra effort they were not paid for to do, and that's why it's so epic.
There you go.
So good. I mean, we know the Voyager team was always above and beyond, right? That's a common decider.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, obviously, this one's iconic for various reasons, both narratively, but also this is one of the most defining time travel lore-adding episodes. We get to see the time cops, not just Braxton in the other episode where he's a dick from the future who could be kind of lying or whatever, right? You feel the operation, you feel the style, you feel, what is the vibe of a guy that you've been dead for 700 years? and how he reacts to you and the respect and all that. The layers, it was so well done. The set's lovely. The L cars, the T cars are great. The acting of both Duquesne and Braxton is excellent. Obviously, the multi-timelines is fun. It's actually surprisingly easy to keep this one straight in your brain because it's quite linear, ironically. But because it's so first-person to sort of 7, it works well. Love the new tech. Love the twist of getting Janeway at the end to help. Don't see it coming. It's there. And the fact that, call at her for, stop doing time travel, please, because you're a mess. It's fun. It's fun. So this is definitely a special one. And I want to say S because it redefined time travel episodes, and also it's very successful, and Jerry does phenomenal in every aspect of this one. So I want to give this one an S.
Yeah, I was going to give it an S as well. Just for introducing us to some things that we really enjoyed seeing after all that time. Like I said, Janeway's first walk around to the ship and things like that. I think was really interesting. So, yeah, absolutely.
Thanks for bringing that up again, because that you're able to add thematic and emotional canon while doing a silly episode. That's glorious.
Yeah.
So it could just have been silly or could have been vapid. No, it was really meaningful. And I always love those scenes because she comes up and is like, I know all the things. She's happy-go-lucky, fun, eager. And it's sweet. It's nice. And a good admiral as well. One of the few not bad admirals because he's just nice.
Yeah.
Excellent. Cool.
Jamie Somerville, 5 pounds. Underrated DS9 episode, Visionary. Long and prosper.
Interested to hear your thoughts on this one. I think we talked about it sort of recently. I'm interested to hear.
You give your spiel first, because I gave my spiel first for the last one.
So this is the double O'Brien one, where he's infected by a sort of time radiation, where he travels forwards. But by doing so and getting to the point he travels forwards, he also sees his past self. So you sort of 2 separate storylines that kind of converge, but he does change things. So it's variant futures. And as he gets more ill with the radiation, he's able to not control it, but he's able to talk longer. So he actually interacts with himself as DS9 is dying and gets enough information to not let it happen. It's a really shockingly grounded time travel episode that's so small and so personable, and he's very good in it. And it's so clever, and it's probably one of the most low-key ones you've ever think of, because it's like, oh, here's a full time travel episode, and a multi-layered one. And it's kind of dark, because they killed DS9 in it, I think, twice.
Yeah.
And then undo it, because time travel, right?
Yeah. I love the way you put that, actually, like layered and like personal time travel. But yeah, it absolutely is.
It's still one that DS9 said, we don't want to do time travel, it's too boring, we'll do our version. We're still time travel, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's really fantastic. Cole Meany, of course, is fantastic as O'Brien, as always. Really gets to shine in this one too.
Although briefly, Mark, just to clarify, just to remind you, we're doing each episode of a time travel story is one. So do you want part 1 or part 2? Because they are different stories and different payoffs, and some can be good, some can be bad. I'm separating them because they're different. So let us know. Do you want us to do part 1 and part 2, or 5 to do both? Sorry, jump back in.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't remember a lot of the specifics from this one necessarily, but I do remember enjoying it quite a bit. And I don't think this one ranks as high as the other 2, at least for me personally.
It sounds like it's not memorable.
Well, I'm trying to
because it's so low key.
It's
such a low key episode. It's all about the performance.
Yeah.
And I watched it not recently, but there's one that I sort of found that I had only watched once or twice when I was young. Refound it. I appreciate all the subtlety as a filmmaker. Like I upped it in my ranking.
Yeah.
It's not funny. It's dark. I would say a very like pleasant B for this, because it is a strong underdog contender. It's missing the extra spark of the fun, which I think time travel gives. But I think this is definitely a strong B, because it does a lot of good stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff, and it's so different, right?
Okay, I'm gonna trust your instincts on that one.
And you could argue
you
could argue if you prioritize good acting over silly and the fun, because it does obviously slant, but then like the Ferengi would be less, because but we're on the same page there. I think fun and what time travel offers should be part of it. That's very different, but very good.
All right, what is next? I'll Schmo Buddy's comment again. And Sussy Guru 2005 euros. If it counts as a time travel episode, DS9's Far Beyond the Stars. Yeah, it does, because it takes place, well, in like 19 what 20s, 30s, 50s, something like that, 60s. But yes, it's a Prophet vision essentially, and this is a really good one because you get to see all the characters out of makeup, including Martok, and
especially Martok.
Yeah, and I love their interactions with Odo being their boss, and I think Avery Brooks kills this performance. He does such a fantastic job with it. Even his father is in it as like the preacher on the street.
He gets beaten up by Goldacott kind of viciously.
And Wei-Yun, yeah. Yeah, so there's a lot of really great elements to this one. Plus, it's one of the best, I think, one of the best episodes of DS9. It's definitely up in the top 5, I think, for me.
But it's not an episode of DS9. Ironically, it's like Synergy Forever is a very removed TOS episode. This is a very removed DS9 episode.
But it very much ties in with the Prophets and his whole emissary thing. So
sure, but if you ask the average fan what's causing this, they'd say, I don't remember Prophet. I didn't remember it was a Prophet vision. I just thought it was I didn't remember that. That doesn't stand out in it.
And it comes back too in a later episode, one of the last ones, where he's in an insane asylum and he's writing on the walls, and Damar is his doctor.
I don't know this at all. Oh.
Yeah, and he's still Benny, at least for a little bit of that episode. Yeah.
Ooh, I have no memory of that. That's awesome.
Yeah. They keep taking away his pencil, but he keeps wanting to write his story, so he's writing on the walls with whatever he can find.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and it's basically just the Pa Rays trying to convince him to not to
stand down. Yep. Interesting.
But anyway, yes, this is a fantastic ensemble piece, and I think it definitely deserves a high slot in this category. It is not technically time travel, but I mean, it deals with the inadequacies of like the civil rights movement and stuff, and a black writer, and you can't have a black captain, and make the captain white, and it's like, no, I'm not going to change my vision. It's all in here.
Hence the iconic still.
Yeah, it's really good. I don't know how else to express it, but it's not really time travel, but we'll count it for sure in this ranking. What are your thoughts?
Okay, so I'm going to rate this lowly because if I'm judging it as a time travel episode, A, there's no technical time travel, as you just said, but B, is an allegory piece. This isn't Cisco. He's not acting as Cisco. He's a guy called Benny. He's not being Cisco. The acting's super different, and none of the characters are acting themselves. It's also a fictitious thing, so it's sort of a period drama, but it's not actually how it was at the time. It's not that literal, whereas Tapestry is. That's literally what it was. You don't learn anything about any character with this, because they're not them. It's about Cisco learning about Benny, but Benny is a fictitious, like, it's not real. So I'm going to actually go says an F, because time travel episodes, this does not tick almost any box in what I'm quantifying as.
I'll allow that because I kind of agree with you, but anybody that comes in after this is going to be like, what the fuck? And there's one that I'm going to want to put low that people are thinking is absolutely the fucking crowning jewel of all fucking time travel in Star Trek, and it's bullshit.
That's why we finally get cancelled, Stuart. That's why we finally get cancelled. But I love this. I love this episode. It'd probably be an S for top Trek episodes, but for what it does in time travel, it's an F. It doesn't do anything time travel-y. Now, social commentary episode, again, it would slay, but that's not what this is. So it should be on the board. Not that we can't put on the board, but I was going to fight you on that, but...
No. I liked where you were going. I kind of figured. But I just wanted to make my argument that it is one of the absolute best pieces of Star Trek.
Because if it had actually been Cisco in Benny, living it, because he is not actually him. He's seeing it, but he's not doing it. Then it would be Tapestry, and that would be better for this live, but it's not that. It's very specific how they frame it. Yeah.
So good call out, Sussy Guru.
No, great call out, yeah. Thank you.
JW 5 pounds, TNG Time Squared, one of the eeriest time travel episodes for me. Not big in scope, just 6 hours. I was blown away by the split screen effect for the time. Yes, this is like the O'Brien one we just talked about, kind of.
I love this because there's like this is not what you think of as time travel, but yes, the Picard goes back in time. That's it, time travel, right? It's just not our Picard. Although I guess you could argue it could be at least once. But yeah, this is absolutely true. Sorry, jump in. This is a great choice, guys. Well done.
And I love how like he can't speak at first, and he's kind of catatonic, and then as they get closer to his time, he gets more active and gets more communicative. And yeah, to see Picard shoot Picard at the shuttle pod and have that chain of events end to stop the destruction of the ship is quite an interesting little twist. So yeah, this is again a very strange time travel episode, just like the O'Brien one, and it's good. Anyway, yes, that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts on this one?
I mean, this I think is one of the best of season 1 because it successfully achieves a tone which is super sci-fi and super different. In it, honestly, it's slightly body horror because I feel the body horroriness of him killing or sacrificing him. There's a nice vibe here. It's not nice, but it's well done. And yeah, the split screen's flawless. I mean, I never think, oh no, but Trek's always done really good split screen. But I mean, if the whole point of the episode is split screen, put the time in, right? No, this is great. It's the lowest to key time travel. I don't know do they remember it after the episode? Because I feel like it's a closed loop. Once they unnut out the loop, I feel like it doesn't happen.
I think his body disappears, but I don't think they make clear whether they remember that or not.
No, you're
and
right.
Matthew points out it's season 2, not season 1.
Oh, okay. Your uniforms are obviously confusing. I like it quite a bit, but time travel it's the premise, but not about the execution, right? It's about this idea is terrifying, but all it really becomes in the narrative is we're going to die in 8 hours. This Picard is not useful until the last second. So I want to give this a D because I think structurally it's a low-key time travel episode that does what it's trying to do very well, but it's not doing enough to put it high.
Yep, I'm not going to argue with that.
Okay. What would have been your?
I don't know what you said.
Excellent. Good.
I was thinking maybe C, but no, I'm not going to argue on that one.
Excellent. Yeah. It's an interesting one. Yeah. It's an interesting one. That's why I love breaking down these topics, because they all have different ways of judging. Yeah.
All right. Schmobody. It's in $5. Trials and Tribble-ations, DS9 is so well crafted and weaved together and super fun. Yes, this is. Do we have a still for it?
Oh, didn't go. Yes. Just didn't go in.
Oh, just give us a second. Yeah, we talked about our most iconic episodes as well. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is a Star Trek Star Trek fans, oh my god, dream episode, in the fact that it actually intermingles our characters from DS9 with the TOS characters, even in the same room, and does it seamlessly. It looks like so well done. Plus, it kind of adds a new layer for me to Trials and Trouble with Tribbles, because you go back and you kind of think, what if they're on the ship right now? I just love that aspect of it. And also the Tribbles falling on Kirk's head. You know, that Jadzia is just whipping them over her shoulder kind of thing. So it definitely adds a lot, and it was just such a love letter to Star Trek. They put so much effort and time into this. And also, this is the reason that they realized that they could remaster TOS, because they remastered all this footage and realized that it wasn't extremely difficult. So as a result, we got TOS remastered out of all this. And that's never a bad thing. My only qualms with this episode are that when you see the corridors of the Enterprise, they're very crowded in the new footage. Everybody wanted to be on set, and even David Gerald, who wrote the episode, is in the corridor a few times. You see him a few times. It just makes the Enterprise feel as crowded as it probably should have been from the beginning, but they never had the amount of extras to show it. So those are just the decks we never see. It's fine. That's one complaint, I guess.
Well, also maybe they were, it's busy because they're going to go to K7 and hang out, and everyone's can't do their last shift. They depart. But boy, does this shot make you just happy?
Every time.
That's why I wanted to say about the corridor, because this represents they didn't just, hey, we're in uniform, which is that easy. Actually did the whole thing. I mean, this, without even my recap, is an S, because they treat it so beautifully, right? It's everything it tries to do, it does very well. I believe it won an award as well. It would be absolutely fine if they just walked on a Connie, and that would have been great. But the Enterprise in an episode with show footage with their characters, it's super ambitious. That now it would be very doable and you wouldn't think too much of it, but it's very, very ambitious and fun and clever. And Dak's perspective character and Sissy looks great in gold. And yes, some of it drags a tiny bit, but that's because there's a contrast factor of the stuff that works is just lightning a bottle. So when stuff isn't quite working as well, it's like, that's not quite as good. Yeah, but that would be good for normal DS9. This just isn't that. But yeah, this is absolutely an S because this is a definitive. And I can imagine if you did not know first watch, seeing the Enterprise on the view screen, a new shot of the Enterprise for the first time in 20 years, which I didn't just realise it, a brand new shot of a miniature.
Yeah.
It's like, and looking, oh my god, that was crazy if you didn't know, right?
Yeah. Good call. I'm glad somebody said that one. All right. Mark Lawrence, $5. I've got to go with Voyager Futures End. Love Ed Begley Jr. and Sarah Silverman as guest stars.
Obviously, he did for both parts, so we talk about them separately.
So
part one, which is the introduction.
Part one. They show up in 1996.
The future of, the present day.
I guess eugenics wars weren't a problem. They cleaned up from that. It's fine. This is the Captain Braxton, but not Captain Braxton actor. Anyway, it's fine. And we got Sterling out of the deal, which is the Elon Musk or the whatever you want to say for this universe where he's got the technology and he creates his own. Well, he's got a time ship, and as a result, humans have been advanced quite a bit with different gadgets and stuff. I forget why they are there, how they got there.
Shall I give you a brief recap?
Go for it.
So, ship falls into hippie past, and then Voyager gets almost destroyed by Aeon because they kill Earth in the future. Wait, what?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They do a deflected thing, and it sends them both back into the past 1996. They beam down, and they spend quite a while on the beach, just enjoying the sights and sounds. It's really surreal. They meet Braxton. He's now an old man. Bit crazy because he's been on a psych ward. They meet Sarah Silverman in the famous observatory. You see a Khan statue thing. She works for Braxton, whatever his name is, who's now a rich billionaire person. They spend a lot of time meandering the past, which is the fun of it. A lot of time with Braxton. And then the observatory, you get some really organic, flirty chemistry with Paris and Silverman, really quite organic. And then, phaser fight, which just disintegrates their car, which is kind of crazy. And then you get Neelix and Kes looking at TV and being confused by it. So that's their scene. And then they go and try and steal the Aeon. Doesn't go so well because, of course, future. At the very end, he uses their future tech to hijack Voyager and get all the data. And at the end is like, aha, we're more advanced than Braxton. Yeah, but he knows how to use a time ship, so we got F straight away. Haha. And now it ends with like oh no, this is actually a really dangerous situation. Shit.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So that's part one.
That's part one. So this is the more fun part. Which I think is more successful, personally. I think this is a better part.
Really?
Because you get always part ones, you have to enjoy the scenery more.
Mm-hmm.
Like part two is good, but I don't particularly love the stuff with the hillbilly being tied up. It's not. It's not the funnest stuff. This is more fun. I love Paris and Silverman. I think they get a great chemistry. But your thoughts on part one?
I remember part two a lot better than part one, if
Good.
I'm honest.
We'll shift our memories.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I have anything else to say to add to that, honestly.
What's your gut reaction score, and then we can debate that. Well, how successful is it as time travel? So where did it rank and why? Part one, the setup to this weird two-parter.
Well, I think Voyager being accused of destroying Earth and all that, it was like a weird what the fuck moment at the beginning, and it was like, okay, so it kicks off really well.
Yeah, for sure.
I wish the Braxton actor would have been the other guy, but that's okay.
Although that's how disturbed he was in the past. He had to get a full face regeneration.
Yeah. I'd probably put this one at an A for me. Because I do love that initial setup. Like, what did Voyager do to cause all these problems? But I mean, I can be talked. You know your Voyager lore a little bit better than I do, so.
If you want to read New Yorker and Vegas's comment, which just came in a second ago, they just joined because it's rather amusing.
Joined and had to go back and see the justification for Far Beyond the Stars because I was like, the fuck! I told you people would say that. So yes, anyone coming in after seeing that, go back and see why the F ranking. LOL. Do you agree, New Yorker and Vegas? Because yes, I knew that. I said that.
And we justified it. And if you want to up it, hey, you have the power. $5 moves at 1. Okay, part 1. So I don't think this is a particularly successful time travel story in that it tries, but I don't think necessarily hits the mark. It is fun, but it's too serious a plot. As we alluded to, Voyager killing Earth. The threat is actually quite real, but also kind of nebulous. It is fun, but it's not as good as it should have been. Although the Braxton scenes are great with the crazy guy, those are very effective, and it's a good, you feel the effects of time travel, these unintended consequences, right? Things happen, people suffer. That didn't unhappen, right? He's lived with that 25 years dealing on Earth bullshit. So I would have given this no higher than a B personally. Almost edging to a C, because I think it's not super successful. It's fun, but it doesn't do what it does the best. And I think, like, B, the drama in B is much better. Time travel in this is better, yes. But I think that premise is just smarter. So I will say B for this and a low B, because I think it is fun, but it just doesn't... just... Something about it. Which shows we're not biased towards relativity, because this shit be filled with that stuff, right? I mean, if you disagree, hey.
No, I don't. I mean, I just thought it was just as fun for me of an episode. Plus, that beginning was a real kicker.
Yeah.
But it was a fun episode enough that I was just looking at what was in A, and I'm like, I remember it being as enjoyable as that, at least. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay. B it is.
And part 2, which of course starts out with Silverman and Thing eating burgers. Then they go to the Doctor, of course, EMH, loving life outside. Those are all incredible. Can feel pain, etc. Silverman, they want to do a trade. Then they take a shuttle down. This is one of the first type. It's a big Type 9 episode. Chakotay and B'Elanna go down to the planet. There's a chase. They get Braxton for a bit. They get Hillbilly captured.
Yeah, Deliverance style.
It's a confusing episode. I'm scrolling. A lot of the stuff happens. A bit less focused. They blow up a truck, which I think has the Aeon, but doesn't. It's at the facility. It then leaves. And your thoughts, since you said you remember it more.
Now I'm thinking I don't remember it more. I remember a car chase. But the van, Sarah Silverman's van, I remember her office with the Botany Bay thing.
That's part 1.
And all the little, is it? And all the little knickknacks. So maybe I remember just it melded together, honestly.
Which is fair, yeah. There's a lot of EMH, and there's a lot of Braxton, Starling.
Yeah. And they film at the Griffith Observatory.
Part 1?
Yeah. I thought it was part 2. See? Oh my god. Anyhow, the Deliverance Hillbilly thing was weird, and why? But okay.
Well, it's interesting, just not that interesting.
Yeah. All right, we're talking me into a C for this one.
Yeah, I think C, because
there's
actually more on Voyager. It's not a bad thing, but anyway. I want to say C. I'm being kind of harsh, but I just don't think it's super successful again.
Interesting.
But the Doctor EMH stuff is absolutely glorious. Although that's nothing about time travel. Of course, that's him in the present. Him in his present. Anyway. There you go, Mark. That was a good debate.
Yeah. All right. Sesiguru, 2,005 euros. Since Far Beyond the Stars qualified, Voyager's historical revisionism episode, Living Witness. Ooh, that's a good one.
Now, that actually is time travel, in that he travels from 20 387 to 30041. Now, maybe in the blink of an eye, which is a different episode, but he is technically traveling in time just by being off. So it is an episode of time travel.
Kinda, yeah.
He does travel in time just by being off.
Yes.
So, thoughts?
Okay, this is like the closest we got to a Mirror Universe episode for Voyager, at least until Prodigy. And I love revisionist history. I love that based on certain events and who wins said events, you get a different version of the future. The story behind this is really great. They thought that it was a warship Voyager, it was bristling with weapons, and you get this weird skewed view of the crew as being like these megalomaniacal, crazy assholes. So seeing that kind of stuff is always fun. Also, the Doctor trying to explain that no, that's not what happened, and basically the conundrum that comes up because whatever the side that won I forget exactly the situation on the planet, but the war was won, and they have this view that it's fine anyway.
We know what you mean.
To mess with the past would affect their present, and like to clear things up. And yeah, anyway, it's a fun episode. Let's bring that Doctor back. I hope he's in Starfleet Academy. That's all I'm going to say. There you go. I like it. I like the revisionist history. I love the alternate take on the Voyager crew and Voyager itself, and it's quite interesting how like even historians can get things wrong, and not necessarily on purpose.
Yeah,
you know,
they found evidence.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So this one's really interesting because where I'm justifying all these scores is what impression and how it addresses time travel differently. This is an episode without a reset button. Ignore multiverse stuff that is the fun part. This character, who you love for years, finds himself in a part in the future where he can never go back.
Mm-hmm.
And he has to now live that way. And not just that, he is now having to try and, just because he loves his crew so much, justify and try and save reputation despite all of his friends being dead for hundreds of years. And at the end, they don't win the scenario, which is wonderfully brutal at the end. But it's a case of, we will work towards this and then see what happens. We've got to keep going. This is us now, right? So I'm kind of honestly leaning towards an S for time travel, because you've never seen this sort of storyline before. He's actually lost. This perspective is one of a kind for storytelling.
But it's not really time travel.
He does travel in time.
To the Doctor, it would seem like that, because it turns off, then he's turned right back on instantly, according to him.
It's
right?
also it's in the future. The episode is in the future with the character in the past. It is still time travel.
But time travel implies you travel to a different time.
And he does.
Enjoy those events and then travel back.
Does it? Well, that's why it's different. That's why I'm saying it's interesting, right? That's why it's a unique
Okay.
framework.
No, just want to point that out there because people are going to complain.
I'll go down to an A because that's actually quite a small element of it, although it's the entire wraparound. But this, I think, for what it's doing, is so specific and so interesting narrative-wise for time travel. You don't see this, right? That's why oh god, the one where they're all goo and they die. That's again a breathtaking episode because it doesn't happen that way. It's a one-off of episode, right?
And yes, Fleet Paw throws in $2. Fear be gone, Fleet Paw's along. Yay!
Woo! Yeah, good one.
And then Fleet Paw also throws in $5. Got to throw my favorite past tense parts 1 and 2 into the mix. Well, with $5, you can only pick one.
Yes,
but
part 1. Yeah,
it hits differently today than it did when the episode first aired.
So anyone that's put part 1, part 2, but only put in 5, we all going to assume part 1 is the choice, and not Bandic out. So it's all of season 2 of Picard. That of course isn't possible. So it's just one episode, and we'll cover that one, not a band. So pick, or put in 5 times 10.
Do you have a past tense picture?
It's in the pre-prepped, if I recall.
With Daniels?
No. Did I go in again? That's why I'm getting so far ahead in pictures that I then don't necessarily submit them all.
Well, the problem is if you drop it on another picture, it just replaces that picture.
So past tense part 1 is the Gabriel Bell story.
Oh, okay, yes.
With the tremendous subplot that you love with Kira and O'Brien.
That's the best part of it. and it's not till like part 2. This is just depressing and awful. I don't know what to say. I don't
But
enjoy
how
this one.
successful as a time travel story? That's what we're debating.
It's really good. It's really good in that regard.
That's the only qualifier here, though. Or at least that's the qualifier we're looking at.
I just love Bashir. Like, how would they let this happen? This doesn't make any sense. Just throw these people and forget about them. Shall
I jump in?
Please do. I
understand. So for a time travel episode, this is again super unique in that they don't change anything, but that's the whole premise of the story.
They kill Gabriel Bell. They definitely change something.
No, but in the grand scheme, you're right. They change things, but they don't change things. So it's kind of unique in that respect. There's no reset button because they have to change it to be where they were, but it's not a reset. It is the new set. So that's different. It's also different that it was future for us contemporary, but which is unusual. So they're time traveling to our future, so they can make a social commentary, which is biting, while still being backwards for them, which is not often. A lot of these ones are. That's not part of it. So this is there. So they have to invent all the art design. They can't just go to the beach. They have to, which is why actually I think when they get into the police precinct, it feels very small and cheap. Like, not expensive, I should say, because they have to do all these everything's built originals. They can't be the same scope as a true time travel.
Well, they use the backlot.
Well, indeed, but you know it's a set. It doesn't have that big grand scale that it would had they, you know what I mean? Like, which is not a bad thing, but it doesn't reach the scope they could have. Like, none of it feels very expensive to me. Like Dax's office and her little boardroom thing all feels very set based, so it doesn't achieve the time travel fun that because it's not trying to, right? Part 1, of course, is really dark and dramatic, and I think it ends with Gabriel getting shot. I think that's the cliffhanger, and he takes the mantle. And part 2 is about the hostage stuff.
Yeah, I kind of prefer part 2 to this one than part 1.
Well, part 1's grander, part 2 is more drama-based.
Yeah.
But it all kind of, that's one story to me, really, 'cause it's a through line. Oh, I mean, not a personal preference favourite of mine, but it is pretty unique. I would go C.
Yeah, I was thinking C myself.
Because limiting yourself by going into our own future did hamstring the budget a bit, and obviously it's not a visually nice looking episode, so it probably should be higher, but neither of us necessarily love it, so yeah.
But if you think it should be higher, you can bump it up, guys.
Yeah. Tricky, guys, tricky.
Yippers. He did put in another one for part 2, but we'll get to that soon.
Yeah, I was right. So the second part is all the hostage stuff.
Libby Julius, $5. The episode where Harry Mudd keeps resetting the timeline to kill Lorca and learn about the Discovery secrets. That is magic to make the Sainteth man go mad.
I'm interested to see where this review goes.
It's one of my favorite episodes of Discovery because I love Lorca, and the time travel aspect is really fun. I love Lorca, but I like seeing him die. I don't know. I just think his reactions to Mudd in this episode are really fun. We get to see his menagerie. We got the Gorn skeleton in this very image, which is confirmed in Discovery that Gorns look like that, but apparently Strange New Worlds didn't get the memo. But that's fine. It's okay. It's a subvariant of Gorn.
It's Mirrorgorn. They got from his own universe.
Sure. No, this is good, and I do like the solution to the problem being Stamets kind of being temporarily out of sync and basically stopping Mudd. It's a fun episode and really creative as far as we got an Andorian spacesuit in it with the Andorian helmet, and the ways that he kills Lorca, there's some pretty fun ones, honestly. So, and I just love his cockiness. I love Mudd's cockiness in this episode. I think Rainn Wilson did a pretty good job with Mudd, honestly, and it's one of the more enjoyable Discovery ones to watch for me. So there you go.
Well, that's not the highest bar anyway. In fairness, that's a low bar to start on.
Yes.
So this is obviously time loop, which is still time travel, but it is a time loop. So that's our first time loop story. Not a problem. Just want to clarify. And obviously it's the same point. So would that affect your rating, knowing it's a time loop?
No.
And by the end of the story, do we even go more than a few minutes? I don't know, right?
No, not really. I mean, cause and effect's the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, well, and yeah, that's why I was asking. No, it is a really good use of time travel. It's the dark, gritty, horrific version, of course.
Yeah.
But we weren't going to get that in other episodes, so we're going to get that here. And it's going to be brutal and mean and not fun, but actually fun. And it's and irrespective of my liking or disliking Lorca, you know, it's fine. No, it is good. It is effective, and it's really interesting to see two characters live outside of it. Because why does Burnham live outside it?
Because she's Burnham. Because Stamets goes to her for help and reminds her of all the shit that's happened in each.
Oh,
each
so it is only Stamets. It's the later one.
Yes.
Too. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the guy's kind of sequel to this one. I mean, small in scope, of course, but they do have fun with the premise a lot. I can't say I remember much beyond the murder thing. I know when I skimmed it, there's the Tyler Vock party where Tilly gets drunk. And
there's the Gormagander. And Tilly looking fine in the episode. So that's another reason I really like it. So,
but those aren't very deep. I don't linger very much. But this is Stamets' episode to go beyond the dickhead, which I remember thinking, wow, you got to act past dickhead. I would gut low B, high C, because I think the DS9 one's much better. But also Discovery gets points for being so trash, and this is a high-end Discovery. I think if you're on grand scale, maybe C, but with the Discovery points, I'd say B. Just because I think time travel, I would say the Brian one's better, and therefore that's a quantifier. That's my personal. Your thoughts?
I was thinking low B personally for me.
There we go. Okay.
So that jives.
Perfect.
Right?
There we go. Perfect. Our personal enjoyment, it'd be higher, but that's not again what we have to deal with, which is good. Very good. Okay.
All right. Next up, we got Sussy Guru, 2005 euros. It involves extensive time manipulation, so I nominate Year of Hell.
Yeah, this was a tricky one because I guess Anorax kind of travels in time because he undoes his own life, and no one does. No, this is a time reset. There's no time travel in this.
We don't have a still for it either, I don't think.
I do.
Jesus.
I guess I had it myself.
Anyway,
I was going to make it brighter than I forgot.
Yeah, and at the end, the whole thing's reset. Because his wife is still alive, and he doesn't have to be all crazy and avenge her death, so...
You have to be cray-cray.
Never really happened. But yeah, definitely some good destruction and devastation on the part of Voyager, and just the progression to the point where, I mean, Chakotay replicates her a watch. She's like, she's going to be using replicated credits. She's going to put it back in to get the material back, and then she never does, and she keeps it. I love that. There's some good stuff with this one. So, plus seeing the time ship do its thing. I mean, that's pretty brutal. Wiping out entire civilizations or cultures or planets, and getting almost back to where we were supposed to be. I love the percentages that they throw out during this one too. Like the timeline's 85% reset. Screw that one solar system. I never needed that anyway. That kind
of. Yeah. It's all good. It's all fine.
Yeah. It's a fun one. This is part 1, I assume we're doing.
Yes. Except, Stuart, I'm going to give us an F. There's not a single bit of time travel in this, because if you recall, at the end of the episode, they say day 1 again. Because they start counting days and they go back to day 1 because it's undone. So there's not a single bit of time travel, so I'm giving it a straight F. No one travels in time. Even Anorak, he's not traveling through time. He's altering his timeline. He does never travel in time. He's living it linearly. So I've got to give it an F by default, and it annoys me to no end. But there's not a single bit of time travel.
It's a good argument.
Sorry.
Anytime we can get Sam to give Voyager an F, I smile.
And 2 iconic episodes, but they don't, for me, hit the criteria.
Oh, that's another one that's going to make people weird smoking when we did this.
Yeah. But I mean, obviously you're going to agree because you did it, but you'd agree with my ness?
Your nith? Yes.
But great suggestion.
All right. Schmo Buddy, $5. Time Zero, TNG, both parts. You can only pick one, part one in this one case. Some top tier data. Clemens is a fun, different historical figure to be a foil.
I put 2 parts. I'm sure the second part will come up. So Data's the first part. Picard's the second.
Oh, Data's the first part. Okay.
Because the team make part 2. Data's part 1.
Okay. Yes. Yeah, they cover their bases with some historical figures in this one, with Jack London, the bellboy, and running into Guinan, I think, is really fantastic as well. The whole premise of finding Data's head in a cave that's like 500 years old is a great way to start out the episode as well, and just the idea that these beings are like stealing souls is quite an interesting take on things, and going to Earth's past to do so. I don't know, there's a lot. It's a fun one, honestly. I really love the Guinan and Data scene. That's one of my favorites. And yes, Samuel Clemens, aka Mark Twain, I think he does a really fantastic performance as well. He's also in X-Files, by the way. But
who isn't? Who wasn't?
Well, I mean,
I've acted in the time.
Again, I don't remember where this exactly cliff hangs.
Yeah, I'm scrolling. It ends with the Davidians, I believe is what they're called, in the thing, and they all willingly walk into them time portaling. So the first part is very much data and mystery. Then part 2, which I don't remember almost at all, is in the past as a group. So it's very focused, part 1. Yeah.
I think part 1 would be higher than part 2, for me personally. I just love the way again, it's like the Voyager one. I love the way it opens with the whole, there's Data's head that's 500 years old. How did this happen? I just love that mystery, that sting, right? And then to follow the events of them going back, or Data going back in time. And there's some fun moments, as I said. So I don't remember a lot of the specifics though.
So I've skimmed this, which obviously helps. And it's not my favorite episodes because it's a silly plot. And part 2 is definitely more silly. But in skimming, I think from a concept point of view, this is going to get some really high marks. So like I said, the openings are fantastic.
Yeah.
And super specific to Trek and our characters. So it's very grounded in what it is. We have really 2 tiers of the story. We have the modern day where Guinan does remember the past, which is weird. And by the end, I believe there's a reference to, I mean, I met you first, you met me first in the past, I met you first in my future. So I think that's said, if I recall. So it's very split, but it's very much Guardian Angel Forever in Spock tinkering, Data's tinkering. They really commit to that bit because they know it's 2-parter. So I like that, really looking at this. And also it feels, versus past tense, the DS9 one, I'm scrolling, there's a lot of work been put into the set dressing for the era. It feels bigger. Maybe we have a backlot or a park where these are these old buildings, but it feels more notably, the past than that one. Which it gives a credence of time travel. There's more people in costume. It's more distinct. And Data stands out better. Plus, you get the allegory with the what you can do affects better here. The friendship with the guys is very well done. So this is a pretty successful part 1, I think, time travel wise, because it's really unique. How does Data affect in the past with no active way of getting out? This is not a normal situation. He might live here forever.
Yeah,
it's weird.
I think part 1's better than part 2, if I recall correctly. So.
Yeah, from this skim. And this is not judging the quality of the episode, right? This is the time travel elements. Because it also addresses how a character lived forever is in the past. Super interesting. And Twain learns who they are, how they address that. So really interesting stuff that's different, right? So I kind of want to give us a very low A, because I think it does enough unique things.
I was just thinking A myself, sir.
not an episode I love, but there's so many unique things here that are different and treat you differently. And it's nice that Guinan is a high lady in a world where there's racism. That shows how excellent she is.
Yeah.
There's not even a second of that mentioned because she's that good, right?
Yeah.
It says a lot more than what the Picard episodes did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Part 1.
All right. Rolston S. Bailey, $5. Nothing will ever beat The Visitor. Top-notch sci-fi where time travel is used to explore a human condition and not a gimmick. It's a true tearjerker. Yes.
Because that is both Sisko traveling time, and I do believe Sisko remembers it all. Or no, he doesn't. He gets undone.
He doesn't remember it. No. He doesn't remember it.
So technically, Sisko...
Which is obvious with him fucking off on his son later, but that's okay.
Yeah, so technically Ben's traveling time, but then of course it's undone. So it's both a Year of Hell reset, but also not. There's more time travel than that, so it's fine.
Yeah, it's a fantastic piece of storytelling. It's one of the best episodes of DS9 again for written. It did win an award for writing. It's a fantastic story. It's one of those ones like Inner Light and City on the Edge of Forever, though, for me, that you could take the Deep Space Nine element out of it totally, just have it be a very good sci-fi tale about a father and son and the love that's there. It's very much time travel in Trek, though, so that's fine. And it's a great premise as well, that Sisko's like just trapped in time, and Jake is the one that continues the hunt to get him back, which seems kind of odd for our Star Trek characters. You think they would move heaven and earth to get somebody back, because that's what they always do.
Well, that shows how dramatic it.
Yes, yeah.
It is.
It's depressing as hell.
Yeah.
Because he's getting ready to die, and this young girl stops by, and it's like, oh my god, you're my favorite writer, and then the story that he tells. And Tony Todd did a fantastic job as an older Jake. Tony Todd's a great actor. Yeah, top-notch storytelling, and a very good premise for a time travel episode, which is not the normal kind of time travel that they would do. So, yeah. There's my take.
And you can take some huge liberties when there's a reset button. But at the same time, it does give you a lot of Jake lore. Because you see in real terms what he would do, how he would do it, and how far he'd go. So even if that's not what actually happened, it's a huge window into his ness, his vibe. Plus you get the alternate future with Captain Nog, and the joke about the using buttons and not holograms, etc. is amusing. Although non-RIP Dax, because Jadzia is still fine. God, imagine they'd hired Ezri like 3 seasons earlier.
Yeah,
that'd be a hell of a thing. Yeah, this is a really different one, of course. Which, in fairness, is kind of like the Discovery one, right? Everything's reset with only one character remembering. This is full reset, but...
Well, apparently Fleet Plus says that Sisko remembers. That's how he's able to avoid the accident in the first place. Yeah, but I think the memory fades, though, after that, because then it technically never happened. So I'm not sure how that works, because it's never brought up again, which is odd.
Star Trek.
Well, anyway.
Oh, man. I think my gut is to give it the solid S, because it's one of the most shockingly emotive versions of time travel that you've seen in Trek. Or being radically simple, but also the fact that we have 3 different timelines, as in we have Jake being the Jake actor, and then Tony being young and old, both being different, both being successful, and tremendous makeup, and have our Sisko feel really out of place in his own show. So I think for emotional impact, I'm going to give it an S.
Yep.
And also it takes place in a guy's house.
Yep.
Which also feels in itself different and...
Yep. All right, not a band account, $5. Star Trek Picard Season 2, darker, more relevant Trek, America's immigration system, Picard's Borg bigotry, ordering the fleet to self-destruct. Can't do a whole season.
No, but we had this conversation and he clarified episode 4, which of course, technically speaking, if you're talking time travel stories, do they have to travel in time in the story? In which case, 4 and 10 are the ones they do travel, because this is one where they go back into the past. 2 and 3. But yeah, so this one is the. Do we really care, Stuart? But this is the one where they go to Chateau Picard. It's deserted. We learn about the mum who killed herself. There's all the scenes which is blue and orange because they like the harsh colour lighting. Looks ugly, really. Then there's the bus with the guy that can't possibly know Spock, even though it's entirely a broken continuity, and we had debates about this. They use both continuities and break both because they don't think it through enough. And then Borg Queen's around, and they meet Guinan, who's not at all Guinan. Just horrendous performance in terms of was not remotely what it would have been, and racism, even though you were fine when there's more racism, which is silly, but okay. And also the bar looked identical pretty much 200 years is daft. And the ice stuff, which is seen and then entire dropped. So it has really no relevance.
Yeah, it was like, I thought it was going to be a bigger thing, and it just wasn't.
It's angst for the sake of angst. It's the writers thinking they were being powerful while just literally showing a version of it. And it's not going to... It hasn't stood the test of time, even 2 years on. But it's not going to go on an awful car chase, which I'm sorry was well directed, but not well shot. And then they meet the Watcher people at the end, who's the lady. Oh, and this is one of those ones. You finally Q's back in it, meeting Renee. Oh, he's not in it again. I was like, okay, that was his entire bit. He's barely in the season. You effers tricked us.
But bringing in the supervisors was kind of a cool concept.
Didn't know it yet though, so we can't judge it on this one. But
yes,
but indeed. Oy. Your thoughts?
Didn't remember it until you started talking about it, and still can't really remember all the details. But hey,
it's a very murky season.
Yes, I remember the car chase being kind of around one building because they had like 2 or 3 streets that they could use. I don't even know where to put this.
Okay, the problem is that it doesn't make sense. None of them have talked about have that problem. Bus Guy, I'm sorry, the reason that his alternate universe self crossed the multiverse to give him a neck feeling. No. Spock either happened here, which all means the time travel logic of one version exists, which changes the paradigm, or it doesn't, he shouldn't do that. So that doesn't work, and the writers didn't know what they were doing there. Terry wasn't involved, he has to do time travel, this is not right. And then Guinan also would have known Picard, because they did meet in the past, irrespective of future events, she lived that in her past. So that also is wrong. So both events don't make sense in the time travel logic of this show, and both being also different versions of time travel. So I'm going to give it an F because it breaks Trek continuity, its own continuity, and also just doesn't register logically with so much. It's as if a non-Trek fan who's not seen the Trek made something and put Trek on it and tried to add some elements, but didn't actually understand or relate or use logically.
Yeah.
It's our first broken episode, which is funny because Discovery ain't a broken episode. That's a strong time travel. That actually, honestly, that seems really strong in comparison, which is depressing.
Yeah.
At least
and I remember at the time we were like, hopefully they're only in the past for like an episode or 2, maybe 3. Nope, rest of the goddamn season.
Yeah, it's 7. And the mirror stuff's great, or the alternate stuff's great. But yeah, this deserves an F because it actively does not work on many levels.
Yeah.
And the ice stuff is not going to hold up well either.
Swift Paw Fleet. Oh my god. Fleet Paw Swiftback. I'm having a fucking day, I'm telling you what. $5. A fiver for past tense part 2.
Yes.
Which is the better part. I love the interactions between these two specifically. And just how well Sisko does at kind of talking common sense into people in the situation, trying to get what they want. And I think it works out very well. Plus, there's Clint Howard in this one. He's invisible,
yes, there is.
Don't you know? It's better than part 1 for me, but it's still not one of my favorites. And of course, O'Brien and Kira going back to different time periods and the whole hippie peace thing, and
it's fun padding.
It is, yes, but it's much needed in some of these episodes that are kind of darker. I think even the Clint Howard thing was just like hilarious.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, no. I mean, where did we put part one and C? Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Anything
another
else?
band, we've got that as a separate one, don't worry.
Anything else you want to add to this one?
Yeah, this is a weird one because it's super non-time travel-y in the sense that he's just living the situation. And Sisko's kind of brutal captain, so he's just living it. His dark impulses work and be whatever. But it's just a hostage episode that happens to be in the past of Trek, but there's nothing really Trek in it, really.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good bit of TV, but I don't know if it's a good time travel episode. Because it doesn't do the fun of time travel, or it kind of does with Bashir, but that doesn't really work. That literally is just, what do we have as a C plot? What's cheap and easy? This. Okay. I think this deserves to be equally as a C, because I don't think it's a particularly good time travel episode. Even if it's a better episode, probably.
Okay. No, I'm on board.
Yeah.
Will not complain.
What would have been amazing, this is not remotely useful, but to have, not bad, would have been to have, at the end, Sisko go into the Holo Suite on DS9 and activate a Gabriel Bell hologram and talk to the character it thinks it is, and have it then Avery act as actual Gabriel, actually the time, and see a scene to see how the past remembers it. Would have been an interesting way of tying, like, see how that links or not links, right? Small note, but that would be kind of interesting.
Yeah. All right. Sassy Guru 2000 throws in €10. Voyager's Timeless. I'm also throwing in Endgame, since future Janeway does travel back to the present.
And I want to point out, which is super interesting, that Endgame is only part 2 of the time travel episode, because there is no time travel in part 1. Part 1 is entirely the future and the past, only in part 2, so we can only judge part 2, which I didn't realise. There's actually a distinction point.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't realise that. Now, Timeless does count, because he does send a signal to past 7.
Yes.
So it's just about... I guess technically Doctor's like the other version of him. He's from the past, but not really. So I guess technically that as well, by the same logic. What do you think as a time travel episode?
Okay, so this isn't the one that starts with the amazing crash of Voyager.
Yes. Yep.
It is?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Good.
Oh, yes. We kill everybody. The first scene.
Visually stunning. Great concept, seeing a starship crash and then be encased in ice. And, Kim made a mistake in his calculations and, as a result, killed everybody. And he wants to rectify that. So, yes, he...
Understandably.
Comes up with this plan to solve the problem, and I think it's a fantastic premise. Again, it's another, like, I fucked it up, I'm gonna go back and change it, so everybody that has a life in this timeline, fuck you guys, I'm gonna fix it, and things will be different for everyone else. Like, this is kind of a very selfish thing to do, but I love the premise of communicating with Seven through her implants, and seeing the inside of I believe it's the Delta Flyer that they take. And you get to see the back compartment where there's all that room that you never really see.
Yeah, it's in it more than you think. Yeah. It's a really nice set, but also doesn't fit.
Yeah. And of course, to have Ensign Kim, like, being that dedicated and feeling that guilty, I think is awesome. So... Yeah, that's I'm done.
Yes, I mean, this is one of the best Voyager episodes in many ways.
Absolutely.
Garrett is, like, superb. The fact that the Doctor gets to push, because this is literally, how far do you go to save everybody? And the answer is be criminals, steal stuff, go to the Delta Quadrant, which ends up getting Challenger to follow you, which is kind of, when you think about it.
Oh yeah, the Challenger's in this one.
So he directed it, which is the best, like, random cameo.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. In the greys and the badge, which adds a little bit of canon. So Chakotay gets a very long-term girlfriend, who then obviously they all die. And to see the realization, the acting for both of them is amazing. It's survivor's guilt, it's lived a life, it's different people, but also they if I recall correctly, they went years without having a solution, so they had to live with them being the survivors. And only recently they worked out, only recently, that this was a plan. So this is like post-life. Let's do it. And, you know, it's absolutely incredible. You know, they try once, we re-see a crash, which is horrible because we think as an audience they're going to win. And nothing changes, and he has one last chance. Torpedo comes in, although the thing explodes, sorry. Which is a beautiful explosion as well. And he's like, I'm going to assume we did it, I'm dead! Luckily did it, but the acting on that was absolutely phenomenal. And I've talked about in this, you know, the other examples, this is a hyper unique of a actual full sacrifice and sacrifice of a loving partner who he never gets. Chakotay, you know, we've seen, unfortunately, his Protostar adventure in the future. He spends 10 more years on a planet alone. In this version, he had a almost wife, right? So he sacrificed a lot to save his crew, and that is super special. I want to give this an S for emotional power.
Yep.
It's hyper unique, and it showed these people would do literally everything to save their crew. And they did. Wonderful. Really poignant. And it's graphic. They literally dig up Seven and see her skull. That's horrible. But it's amazing. But it's horrible.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Good choices, guys.
Schmobuddy, $5. Eye of the Needle. Voyager. Big high from possible contact with home. Debilitating gut punch at the end.
And to remind you, it's the Romulan one. Where they find the Romulan in the nebula.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to remind you.
Yeah. There's no picture for it, so.
There is, though. There is, though.
But there isn't, because I'm looking at the screen.
What screen?
There it is. Yeah, this is great. Yeah, make contact with the Beta Quadrant, probably, for the Romulans. But still, and to have these factions that don't trust each other have this interaction and get to know the guy and know he has a family, and you know, and then to find out at the end, yeah, huge gut punch that the messages won't get to their family for quite a while, if at all, with the political landscape, is, yeah. And it's such, again, it's unique. It's a signal through time that they don't think is through time. So it works really well. And yeah, it's one of those like, oh no, it really does gut punch in the end. So yeah, fantastic.
Pretty sure the season 1 is probably the best of season 1 because it's a really clever story with excellent choice of actor. Vince Vaughn or Matthew Vaughn, no, yeah, he's the guy that plays the Admiral Enterprise. Excellent in the role. It plays on a combination of things. You get to deal with the genuine political misgivings of Romulans from a bygone era, which is interesting. But also that not all Romulans are distrustful, because they do convince him through fact and evidence, and he's actually a nicer Romulan. So that's another side, which is, I don't know if it's intentional, but you feel it. He does risk it to you know, he's beaming to the future. This be crazy, because he just wants to learn and be sciencey, and there's no sense he's doing it for like weapon research. He's very, very genuine, which is very important to the plot. Actually, he's just a nice guy. And the fact that he agrees to do the thing, yeah, and to give us a first season gut punch, maybe we'll get home and just let them know we lived. That's all we can do. And then, yeah, to know that he died, having never done the message, is horrible, and it becomes a net zero episode just by actually changing the past.
Yeah.
Not every ripple has a bigger ripple. And it's just letting your family know you lived. That is all the win you needed. Would have been a massive win. And it's taken away. And it's a really strong episode. For a full bottle show. It's a very, very clever. So I want to say A for this, because I think it's a very clever, but lower key. But I think the gut punch is stronger than the Bashir stuff, or the O'Brien stuff, for its simplicity. But I don't think it gets S. It's not that strong, but I think it's very, very strong. So that's my gut.
Yeah.
Is that,
I'm fine with it.
would you have gone there, or would you have gone higher or lower?
I was thinking A myself.
Cool.
I was hoping you'd kind of talk me into an S, but no, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. It's a high A. It's a high A.
It is a high A. It's a high A.
Yeah. All right. Not a bad account. $5. Star Trek Picard Season 2, Episode 10, Farewell. Easter egg with Project Con. Wesley's triumphant return. Picard overcomes his Borg bigotry and Laris.
So this episode is when when they go to Sung's lab and they blow up the robots. Oh, and Seven's been shot or something and she's fine. Sung is in it at Mission Control. Not Laris works at Mission Control, and you end the entire season's arc by minute 21, and it feels super rushed as Not Laris dies. The drones are hyper easy. The stuff with Rene Picard is not very good. Then we have to deal with our characters from Soji, and so we're just gonna fob them off and do something else. No one cares at this point. The feels like an add-on. Wesley seems fine, but he's just playing.
He just walked in off the street. Those are the clothes he walked in.
He's just playing Will Wheaton, unfortunately. He's not Wesley enough. And now we can say that because he's much better in Prodigy. He nails it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you get Rios staying in the past. Raffi and Seven kissing because now they're a couple. Picard finding a key in the past of a thing that he put because he realized his future death, and then he sees Q's dying, but he isn't, because now we know he's not, because thank you, Terry, for undoing that. It's a nice scene, but it's not the point of the episode. Then they walk out into a forest because it's cheap, because they ran out of money. And then they go back into the present, which they film at the same time, and it turns out it's the lady who, if she just said, hi, I'm the lady, the whole season wouldn't have happened. It would have made more sense. And then you get a giant stupid thing with a laser beam that means nothing, with a fleet that goes nowhere, that does, and then, okay. And then whoopers at the end.
As everyone in the chat is saying, who cares? So...
Oh, and at the end he stays and forms a life with Laris, of course, which totally...
goes everywhere. Yeah.
Oh, it's such a bad ending. I'm so sorry, those guys who made this. They knew it wasn't good. And it's so despotic. It's 3 episodes in one. Aye.
Yep. I don't have anything to add.
I mean, at least we see some Akiras and some Titans in the fleet. That's nice.
I mean, yes, that's true.
But that's not time travel. I gotta give it an F as well, Stuart. It's such a poor episode of time travel. And it gets into the future by minute 34. I'm sorry, it's not good. I'm sorry.
Enough. So
yeah. Okay. Okay, well, there we go.
Yep.
And we loved the first episode so much.
Oh, we didn't talk about Endgame. Back to Sussies.
Oh, you're right, yes. Endgame, part 2, because it doesn't turn around part 1. So, Admiral Janeway appears on Voyager, shows them future tech, they armor up, they Borg, this is from memory, I'm not even scrolling this, they Borg cube they find the transport conduit thingy, it's like, oh, that's not what you told me, let's go back. Janeway's like, you idiot, all in line. And then, secondary plan to kill the Borg Queen and ye olde save the timeline. Well, no, kill the timeline, sorry.
Yes.
Actually, I'm wrong.
Trim that branch, baby.
Yeah. Thoughts?
It's an S.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's totally selfish of Janeway, but it's fine.
Selfishly selfless.
Yes. I mean, there are some weird things in the future. The Doctor and...
That's part 1.
Oh, there you go. So you don't have to talk about it. Sweet. All right, good.
This is structurally, this is just a future version of the Janeway comes in and deals with the Captain Janeway. We get the dynamic, and there's 2 of them, and then we change the future.
I get the face off of Janeway and the Borg Queen.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Yeah, that's an S.
I'll go with S because, and this is my justification, because you don't often see your lead hero playing slightly a possible antagonist, in that she's so driven to do the thing that her badness slightly comes out, like slightly. There's a vibe difference, right? But flawless dual actor scenes, absolutely flawless, both in makeup and costume, in acting and pace. I mean, you never think there's every scene's perfect. They did a phenomenal job, and it's very rare that you actually kill a timeline and you see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Perfect. All right, Sussy Guru 2000, $5. One of my favorite TOS episodes, Assignment Earth. Yes, going back to observe Earth's past is their mission, and in the meantime, they run into Gary 7, a supervisor who's been sent to Earth, trained by aliens, because they abducted people from Earth like centuries ago, to monitor and make sure that Earth doesn't destroy itself, essentially. This is a fun episode. This was a pilot episode for a new series for Gary 7 and Roberta Lincoln, and it's brought up again in Prodigy. And yep, I love the Gary 7. I love the supervisor aspect of things. There's a few books that I have talking about Gary 7, and I think it's a fantastic premise and idea. I wish it would have been made into a show, but it was such a weird premise to use Star Trek as like a starting point for this. But it worked out, and well, it's not for that show. Well, not for that show, but it's fun. Come on, it's fun. Is he a bad guy? Is he a good guy? We don't know.
Is he even a guy, right?
Right. Well, the cat's not. The cat's not a cat. The cat's not a guy. The cat's a lady.
So the problem with this episode, right, is that it is a time travel episode, but it's barely a Star Trek episode.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
So in that regard, but it is interesting to have at this point, not a time traveling race, but does Prodigy kind of retcon that with Wesley, because he can time travel, but he's not the same as this. But if they can time travel, then surely they would send their people. They wouldn't, but that would kind of ruin it as well. It makes it complicated, right? So let's take this in context. It's super advanced aliens want to help because they're good people and whatever, and how do advanced alien races help all the different parts of the galaxy? That's kind of interesting. That's interesting, right? He's great, very deadpan.
Keep in mind, at the beginning, they do mention the slingshot effect around the sun, which
yeah.
happened in a previous episode of TOS.
Which is a better time travel episode.
Do that. Yes, and they don't usually do that. So to tie other TOS episodes into another one, it's not a serialized story, really. It's episodic, so that's a nice little touch.
This is a very hardcore time travel episode, but is it a good time travel bracket episode? It's good.
Yeah.
My gut is a C.
That's exactly what I was just thinking.
Yeah.
That's fucking funny.
We've had some very similar things here, which is nice.
Yeah. I was thinking B, and then I was like, no, I think it's probably a C, because I was looking at the other stuff in the list as you were talking, and it's like, probably a C. I do really enjoy Assignment Earth, don't get me wrong. I love Gary 7.
For sure.
But, yeah.
If it had been a two-parter, and they could have played around more with it.
Yeah.
But because there's a lot of them doing them stuff. And then the Trek guys. Now, if you put the other episode with the fighter pilot, that's excellent in different ways. That, I think, would be higher. But we'll see if someone puts it in.
Yeah. All right. Guest from 1980, $5. TNG Times Arrow Part 2. The Mark Twain part was horrible.
Ouch.
Oh, I don't remember much of Part 2.
Neither do I. So I will skim now.
You skim.
So they're still in the past. There's a morgue. and they're wearing period costumes as a soul's being sucked out, and then they're all together all of a sudden in great variants of costume. They don't know where Data is. A great landlady who also plays Data's landlady in the future, which is hilarious because it's not the same. She's great in the part. I love it. And then Mark Twain is all tinkery, and then Data's there. And Mark Twain is funny. Then they find the Davidians, kind of. Then they find the Davidians, kind of. And they talk a bit. Then they go to the cave. Then Twain does something. Then they go into the future. And then Guinan doesn't die. Then in the present. And they put Data's head back on his head. Wow, that was not exciting, was it? That was
It's a D, I think.
Yeah, the costuming is excellent. I love the period sets. These feel great. And I probably, if we watched it, we'd probably enjoy it more.
Yeah.
But my watching and summary does not inspire anything in me. Although I do love having the Guinan vibe of she remembers me, I don't remember her, we met different times. It probably should be a C, but I don't remember it enough. I think D for this sake, because I can't judge it enough.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah. Oh, it's a very strange episode to scroll through. Very odd.
Yeah, I just remember a good build up to that, and then I was so disappointed by the second part. So
we're almost there in our review, which we'll eventually get back to someday.
Yeah. All right. Not a band account, $5. Star Trek: The Animated Series, Season 1, Episode 2, Yesteryear, by DC Fontana, nominated for a Daytime Emmy Award. Yes. And one of the only episodes of the animated series that was considered canon for many years. Again, very well done and a great concept, because you get a new crew essentially for Kirk, with an Andorian for first officer, something like that, instead of Spock. Go back, we see Ichaya. We learn about young Spock wandering off into the forge, the wilderness.
Michael Burnham was there helping on the way.
Absolutely, she was in that episode. Yeah,
she'd have to be, right?
Yeah. And it's Spock says he's the cousin. Hey, how's it going?
Oh, and Cyborg's there. He's great.
Yeah, he was heading out the door at the time, but yeah.
This would be a great one to AI, clone their voices, and then do add Cyborg and Burnham, because you could do it with a style, right? This would be pretty good, to hold it again, but with everyone in it.
Yeah. So this contributed immensely to the Vulcan lore, like DC Fontana liked to do. So yeah, this is good. I don't remember anything else from it, but this is good.
Yeah, I'll go let you judge on this. I know it's a great episode, but I have not seen it in probably 12, 15 years. But it's got Guardian Forever, which continuity, we just mentioned that. I'll let you, yeah. Helpful, I know.
Put it as an A.
Okay.
Just because of the world building for the Vulcan as well as Spock, and that a lot of that stuff carried over into actual canon for years. So,
right.
Yeah. And it's DC Fontana. She's a fantastic Star Trek writer.
Okay.
Perfect.
Not gonna. Yeah.
Eric Martin, $10. I like Voyager Year of Hell. I'm glad you like it. It is on here. Where did we put it? We put it at F.
Because technicality. But hey, if that implies a 2 up, then it's a 2 up.
All right.
You guys be the bosses.
Do you want me to move it 2 up?
Yeah, I mean, I feel that's implied.
Oh, okay. I didn't get that, but
well, yeah.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now one of the best episodes of Deep Space Nine is down with Picard. Season 2 shit.
R.I.P. All credibility.
Oh my god. Stoned to death when they go out in public.
Now, in fairness, not a band. If Cyborg and Burnham were in it, having predicted their appearances in Trek both 30 and 50 years later, I would S that. Impossible, but had they, I'd totally have. Yeah.
Fleet Paw, $10. Stormfronts, parts 1 and 2. Puts in $10. Enterprise Season 4 opener. Alien Nazis, World War II makes it to the World War II makes it to the U.S. Landing gets assassinated. Archer kicks ass. Enterprise flying over Lower Manhattan. Daniels unfucks the timeline.
Now these super blend together for me.
Oh, they do too. Me too. And I don't even fucking remember the resolution for this one. It was
they
such a
blow
what
it
the
up,
fuck
which
moment.
undoes time.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's fine because it's a time hole. It's a time hole. So part 1, I mean, really great setup, right? This is alternate past. We've got a broken ass ship that can barely do anything. We're all really unhappy as a crew, and suddenly Archer's being dealt with Nazis. The hell, awesome setup. Lots of
Nazis.
Well, and Nazis too. Lots of exterior work. It's a really varied looking piece. They do a good job in that. Suliban, who's been there for a while, which is kind of odd, because it's like, oh, so he's there during the entire last bit of episode. Enterprise, it's like, yes. It's like, okay. Sure. Sweet. Great alien makeup. And they're time agent people who have another great plan. Then it's lovely lady in the past with Archer who they fancy each other, kind of. Part 1 has the great Washington building, which is great.
The White House.
The White House, thank you. They get Daniels in his great makeup, and how time is so broken that he's both older, newer, younger, which is cool. It's weird, but it's cool. A lot of stuff anti-Nazi. They really commit to that, so you get the social commentary. Resistance, yeah, which is not that interesting, but it's there. But then Silik becomes a friend, which is actually kind of great. And he gets to be his normal face, which is excellent. That's really, really fun. And this is just part 1. And then they commit to the bit. A lot of it is commit to the bit. At the end, Daniels dies as a possible way of solving it, because he realizes the plan is to create a time tunnel to go back into the future, but you've already fucked the past, so therefore it's the future different. It's a weird episode, part 1. I can't give more than a C because it's cool, but it doesn't stand out as being super cool. And it probably commits too much to the bit. It's lost a lot of the fun. That's part 2.
Well, we just went through hell with this crew, and we were looking for something exciting and fun to do for the beginning of the next season, and we get this, and it's like, for fuck's sakes. It was a real downer note after what had just happened,
which was already a downer note, in a sense.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a really creative, cool idea. Had it been mid-season 4, I guess. Yeah, it's a real. I mean, it's meant to be a giant gut punch, but it is a giant gut punch. But yeah, so part 1, I would say C at best.
Yeah, I think average.
But part 2, I think, is better because it has more of the alternate history stuff. We get more politics. We get all the time tunnel stuff with the aliens. It kind of uses the premise a bit more. We get politics between the temporal Cold War, because they think Archer is there for the temporal Cold War. So it's like you hear some temporal bigger stuff. It's like, oh, wow, all this and this and this. Then you get Silik. He becomes a hero basically in this episode, which is great. Then you get the really beautiful visual effect sequence of them fighting on the... Great sequence. Silik does die because it's undone because it's a fake future. So, undone. And then they fire on Manhattan, which is really good, crazy effect shots. Like, horrifically ambitious at the time. They must have been, guys, what the hell? And then Daniels and that's the timeline were all fine. They were home. And then the Steamrunner appears in the fleet because they did not pay attention to what ships are in the final fleet. Steamrunner!
B. It's better than the
exactly.
first part.
Yep. Yeah. It takes the premise better, does more fun with it. But yeah.
Cool. All right, Schmo Buddy, $5. As mentioned by some in chat, in the chat, yesterday's Enterprise, TNG, alternate timelines, changing destinies, cool ships. Yeah, this is a time travel episode for the crew of the Enterprise C.
Yes, exactly.
For everyone else,
hence this shot.
Yeah, well, for everyone else, it's still a time travel episode because that was their Enterprise C. But they go to the alternate future of the Federation is losing the war with the Klingons.
Yeah,
so.
It's both a time travel and alternate timeline episode at the same time.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, and as I've stated many times, this is probably one of the best, most Star Trek episodes that's ever existed. So, the time travel element of it, to actually see the Enterprise C, first of all, was like amazing. To have Tasha Yar back, to see an alternate Enterprise D bridge and uniforms, and just know that that Federation is not doing well. Starfleet's losing the war. It was an interesting idea as well. I believe Wesley's back in this one as well. He's on the...
Yeah, I think he's always back. But there's almost no part, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, exactly. Plus you get Shooter McGavin there.
He's great. He absolutely helps.
He's not an asshole in this role. He usually plays an asshole. And the Monster Maroons, part of them anyway, are back. Get to see motion picture era... I know. Motion picture era bridge. Get to meet the captain of the Enterprise C, Rachel Garrett.
She owns what little screen time she has.
I'm sure her character will never be ruined by anything that's upcoming.
Oh no.
Yeah, and then she dies, and you know that these people are going to their death. This is a huge thing, and then for this to be the result for Sela in future episodes, and just to think about how that all played out, like. She survived this when almost everyone else in the crew probably didn't. And she wasn't even supposed to be there. Yeah, this is amazing storytelling and so well done. I love the Dark Bridge as well, the Enterprise D, the kind of conserving power bridge, I guess. But it looks good. I love that they redressed the set and everything. Like, it was a full redo. The only thing that I have an issue with is the end where Geordi's in the wrong uniform when he's talking to Guinan.
The little subtle difference in the neckline,
collar, and the cuffs. Yeah,
it's super subtle, but I mean, you can see it. It's just they added a bit here or the custom versions, and obviously the band or I mean, time travel. It's really fun for the C perspective because most of the time you time travel and it's kind of exciting. But from their perspective, they were about to get killed, and then suddenly in the future, safe.
Yes.
And they get told we're losing a galactic war against the guys that we're sort of okay with at that point because of Kittimer. We just finished a war with them. We're kind of okay with Klingons, and now we're all losing. And this amazing giant ship that they've scanned, they're like, this doubles our firepower, and we ain't gonna win. And I remember Picard giving the honesty moment. It's like, everyone else in this crew I bullshit too. You need to know we're going to lose. This is serious. Your deaths, your actual deaths might stop. That it's crazy when you think about it, and the braveness of this crew. Although how many of the rest of the crew knew, right? It's like Discovery going to the future. How many? They really tell everybody. Just so you know, guys, we're about to go into the future. Anyone off right now? Let us know. Like, I'm sure there's some janitor on deck 7 that was like, the fuck. I had my daughter's dance recital in a week, and you send me in the future? Anyway, neither here nor there. And this also proves time remnants are a thing in Trek, because for Sela to live, Tasha has to live from a parallel timeline, because of time travel, she still exists, because she did exist once, and by going back into the past, she's not erased, because that's not how the time travel in Trek normally works. Which also tells us that Spock and Kirk do exist in the Picard timeline, because they have to, because of time remnants. That's a thing in Trek. Blah 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 blah. It's a whole thing. This proves it because you can't get Sela, right? Is it on the time travel? Is it Essian, or is it just Aeon? Without the bias of it being a great episode, because also an alternate universe. Is the time travel element also Essian? Just so we have that debate for a brief second, right?
I would say it's S-worthy, yes, because first of all, we get to meet the Enterprise C and her crew, and know that the events that surrounded the destruction of that ship did involve this incident, which history didn't know about.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of an interesting idea, right?
Mm-hmm.
It is an alternate time, a future that they go into, yes, but if they hadn't had the courage to go back, again, another time travel trip,
mm-hmm.
it's kind of dual time travel-y, then we wouldn't have everything that
Everything.
we've had. Yeah. I think it's kind of important in time travel. So, yeah, I think it's an S-worthy one.
I agree. I just wanted to throw that out there so we have that brief debate. 'Cause this always gets top ranked in every metric we ever give it. But I do think it's S because similar to Timeless, they're so damn brave, and the acting is so superb with Tasha. It's like history says we all die. Well, I mean, history says it wasn't there, but history says we all die. No, it doesn't. No, because in that timeline it disappeared. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they don't. So no one knows. They assume. Yeah, it's not really certain. They assume they'll die. Okay, yeah. But yeah, the bravery and that Starfleet, right? The potential at saving. Yeah. The only problem I'd say in that small resolution is that the way they budget it, it feels like the entire crew got killed before they arrived in the present. There's only like 5 or 6 people in the entire ship. So if there was 600 people left on the ship, you would feel the loss. But when I watch it, I'm like, yeah, Castillo and the 7 survivors, they choose to take the ship back. But there's never like a moment where there's like all hands and you hear, you know what I mean? Like, it's small in that regard. But you could easily say most of them died in the previous battle, right? It makes sense. It's just, well, anyway.
All right, I'm going to call it now. No more super chats for episodes.
Yes.
Schmo Buddies, $5 cause and effect will be the last one.
Super.
We'll try to get them all done in the next 15 minutes. So
that's a lot of fun. So this has been a really good one.
We won't prattle on too much about each one. So
that was a special one, though.
Yes, 100%. All right. Sussy Guru 2005 euros. Enterprise regeneration, since it does involve the surviving Borg drones from First Contact.
They have time travel to be there.
Yeah, kind of
skirting the lines, but yes.
And kind of establishes this could be why the Kelvin timeline is the way it is. That whole argument. Anyway, quite a twist for this one, to have surviving Borg in the Antarctica and never have them refer to themselves as the Borg. Steal a freighter, run from Earth, gets faster and faster and faster as it goes because they are improving the ship as they go. And Dr. Phlox can apparently cure assimilation. I mean, with his medical technology and database of the past, and they can't do that in the future.
They do say it would only work on denobulans or similar physiology because the radiation would have killed other life forms.
They do say that.
They do say that. But that's still really useful.
Yes, because you could take that technology from the past and, use advancements on it and perhaps make it work for everybody.
Hey, they can put a tardigrade in your goddamn DNA, but just put some Phlox in you. Put some denobulan, everybody. Anti-assimilation.
Everybody needs a little Phlox in them.
I mean, his 13 wives agree.
It's a weird medical procedure. Yes. This was a fun idea, but whenever you try to introduce this kind of stuff, it kind of skirts that line of we're going to fuck things up. I think they did a pretty good job with it, honestly, but it gave the Borg a heads up on Earth, I guess, maybe, to the Borg of the past, because they would send a signal.
Well, they line it up with TNG Season 1, so you can either say it never reached them, or that is the reason they got summoned to be the ones that attacked the border colonies. That's what it's meant to be, or
yes.
It didn't make it. It works either way, right? Well,
yeah.
Either way.
All right.
Oh, me. Yeah, it's good. It skirts, it's not the best time travel episode because it isn't really a time travel episode, but it's a time travel dealing with. It's hamstrung by the show it's in massively, and it should have been a season 4 episode because I would have learned all about the cast and the tech, and I think it's fun for what it is, but season 4 with Manny Coda would have been much better. Like, I don't know how, but can you imagine if, I don't know how, if in season 4, say, they were able to, like, bring, like, Daniels brought Archer into First Contact, and they rebuilt part of the E-set, and they met, like, you know what I mean? Like, met someone from Nemesis, from like, that would have brought up to a degree, like Enterprise J, that sequence, right? So they could, anyway. D. because it skirts the logic and skirts the realisticness so much. It's fun, but it's too skirty for me. Your thoughts? I sense disagreement.
I was going to say F because it's not a time travel episode at all. It's just a result of a time travel episode.
Okay. No, yeah,
but
sure. I mean, these guys did time travel.
They did.
But they time traveled like 10 years ago. No, yeah, F's fine. Yeah. Like, again, technicality, we're trying to be careful here. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, that's fine. All right, moving on. Gastro 1980, $5. Easy
Laura?
one. Star Trek.
Never come in.
What?
I just wanted Laura. But that's okay. Maybe next time. There are still some more.
Easy one. Star Trek 4: The Voyage Home. A double dumbass on you.
I mean, double S, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely. We don't have a picture for it though, so I can't represent it.
Represent.
Fleet you don't listen to instructions apparently.
Oh, I found whenever saved it. Ugh, girl.
Fleet I'm just going to jump to Fleet Pause real quick.
Yeah.
$5. Let's not forget First Contact was a predestination paradox according to the Borg themselves. This was stated before Enterprise was even a thing. Did they though?
Yeah. Queen says it in one of the Voyager ones, 27, if I recall.
Oh, okay.
Because they mention, because obviously First Contact happened, but not Enterprise. They were to reference it. I do recall. I did get a picture for this. Where did it go?
That's fine then.
Hold on, it was Oh, I got one earlier. I think it was in the pre-batch, so I didn't get it because there's one in the as also as double. Yeah, there is again. Voyage Home. Yes, I went with the beer shot.
Michelob.
Yeah, I mean it's great. It's funny. It's smart. It's simple. They do break time, but also predestined time if need be. It utilizes the silliness of it. They bring back an Enterprise, and they have something as simple. They make a future person sitting in a restaurant eating breadsticks super entertaining with every small thing. If you watch that scene, it's more deep than you think it is. Like he reacts to the beer, and it's all layered, which is great. Although of course the scene where Bones does heal the lady. Makes medicine and other parts of Trek seem a bit dumb. It's like you fixed you're pilled, but it's fine.
Yeah. That scene, the restaurant scene you talked about in particular, the candle irritates me shot to shot, as it does in every fucking thing I watch. We're watching Mad Men right now, and the same issue with some of the candles on the table. Continuity, guys, it's important. Also, the breadsticks move, but that's fine. Yeah, this is an S tier. This is.
I mean, it's glorious. Now,
this is a good entry drug into Star Trek for people that aren't Star Trek fans.
The only thing that doesn't make sense, and I think they knew that probably, is that he can't sell his own glasses to get money, to be given his own glasses by Spock, because then as soon as someone scans
McCoy,
sorry. As soon as he scans the glasses will be like 10,000 years old, because if they loop that many times, then they keep getting older. It's the same pair of glasses.
Who's scanning the glasses?
Well, why would you not radio date? I mean, I don't know, a passive scan at some point in the 600. What you know? What I mean, like these retrometrically date. They're progressively getting older every loop. So at a certain point, there'll be 10,000. The metal will be 10,000 years old. They'll degrade. They'll like.
That's not how time travel works.
And it is. It's the same glasses, unless it isn't. That's what I'm saying. It can't be the same glasses. It has to be a new pair every time that he's selling. Because it can't be the same glasses. Otherwise, it'd be the same glasses in a loop. That's the only problem.
McCoy bought them from an antique dealer. Kirk sold them to an antique dealer in the past that probably changed a few hands before McCoy got them, but it's not doesn't keep happening over and over and over again.
When he gave them after.
No, if he wouldn't have sold them to that guy, McCoy never would have found them to sell them to him.
Exactly. Well, that's the problem with it. That's why predestination versus one time only. If it only happened once, then of course.
It does only happen once.
But then we changed time because we invented transparent aluminum early, which means it's now a new timeline. Because that's a giant invention. I mean, Scotty, the guy that invented it in the original timeline no longer invents it. Scotty invents it, which means now that guy's out of a job. That whole thing ruins the timeline.
No, he gets credit for inventing it.
Scotty doesn't.
No, the guy you gave it to does.
Oh, that's true. They let Nebulas, don't they? But it was not invented that year, though. I don't know if they.
No, it's still. He said it'll take years to understand the dynamics.
Okay, that is true.
So that gives him the spark, and then he spends years developing it. So it works out fine. Shush you. All right. Laughable Larry, $5. I always get the impression Picard was lying about the war not going well to help convince them they needed to go back in time.
Ooh, I got it as 100%, brutally sincere.
Yeah, that's why it was behind closed doors. It's God, we're not doing well. The crew doesn't really know how bad it is. Only the command staff does. Yeah.
Yeah. But hey, fair enough. We all take different things marked, right?
Sasigura, $2,000, $5, DS9, Children of Time. Ah, yes. The Defiant crashes, and as a result, there's a whole colony of descendants of the Defiant crew. Oh, I just gotta move these back. Yeah, this is another heart-wrenching one a little bit. We see Odo, who's always loved Kira. Kira, of course, dies. So to prevent that from happening, he sabotages it so that Defiant would make it and she wouldn't die, and therefore none of these people ever existed. Where they wanted to preserve that because there's a whole lineage of O'Briens and shit, right?
It's as if we just talked about this in Endgame almost.
Yeah.
I mean, you can sympathize, right? Similar logic.
All right, this is another one that has a unique premise and setup for it, and it is quite a discussion as to how to solve this problem without killing everybody, essentially. I love that there's another Dax as well, and that they work together, but okay. Oh my goodness, where would we put this one?
Because this is similar to E2. Actually, very similar, but this is a far more positive vibe in that they sing about, as in thematically about, look at the colony we all made. It's lovely. Yes. And then it twists. Whereas E2 is all about the darkness of we all had to live and we all died or whatever. Because the fact they go out on location, Stuart, my God, shocking on this episode.
Yeah. I got to see this one in contrast to other stuff, though.
It's very unique. It's dark, and the fact that they were sort of, as a storytelling device, they were sort of telling us we're going to have to kill the crew. We're going to commit to kill the crew to make these new people. They kind of got you to that point because they we can't let our family die. It's well, but then we have to all get stuck in 2 days. It's and then it undone, and then they talk about scanning the ground, and what was there 1 second ago is no longer there because it was never there.
Yeah, I think this is probably an A.
I think it's also an A. I think this hits similarly hard to the Voyager one, an A, for different reasons, of course. Yeah. It's just a really interesting version of this that takes a super different slant. And to have Odo be there, the only prospective character, to have a legacy of Klingons, of hybrid Klingon friends who love Worf. It's really sweet. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I remember really liking it. And they do choose to sacrifice themselves. But that's not how they see it. They see it as starting a colony.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bold episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also introduces the love of Odo and Kira. Because up to that point, Kira didn't know that Odo loved her. And that starts a whole other thing, right? So.
Oh my God, Trek culture! No, we haven't had that one. Trek culture, do you agree or disagree? There's been a very interesting debate between all the ones. This is best time travel episode specifically.
I think he just tuned in. Don't super chat for those old scientists because we're closing out.
Yes,
but
it's on quality of time travel episode specifically, not episode itself, but time travel.
All right. Well, Laughable Larry $3 and $2. Here's $2 more. You can't tell me what to do. But before that, Schmobody throws in $5 because cause and effect TNG. It's got Frasier as a captain on a weird old ship. It's not weird. And the D gets blowed up on repeat.
And it's funny, because they've had a time loop one where it's not time travel. They do time travel in this one, so we can call it that. Even though the premise isn't about time travel, it's about time loop. But it is still time travel. So it's...
Well, it's time travel for Fraser and his crew.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's still that,
Bateson.
technically.
Yeah. This is a super fun one to see the Enterprise get, and people were calling the network saying, is there a problem? Like, after each commercial break, you're starting from the same spot. It's like, no, dumbass, pay attention. Anyway. To be stuck in a temporal loop, what was for 16 days or something? I forget how long they were in it.
Actually lost time. It was an actual loop in local space-time, yeah.
So Starfleet would have thought the Enterprise was not destroyed necessarily, but gone for a while. Mm-hmm. And of course, Bateson is like, hey, yeah, it's this year. What's going on?
Look at my not sea bridge.
Yeah. Wow. But yeah, Monster Maroons are back.
This is after the other one, so
yeah, and real Monster Maroons, like they went full turtleneck and everything as they should. So, but no, to see the Miranda or is it a Soyuz class? Whatever it is.
Yes.
The nacelle scrape across the Enterprise's nacelle and to see the different explosions each time. And even the puzzle solving in it for how do we send an information to the next loop. There's a lot of really good stuff here. And this is, again, one of my favorite TNG episodes. Plus, seeing anything motion picture era is fantastic. And they did it full.
They found the bits.
Full bridge, full uniforms. It was great. And to know that Bateson goes on to do other stuff, even if it's just beta canon, but he's also in lower decks. Yep,
exactly.
Yep. He saves Freeman. That's really cool. So, yeah, this is a fantastic episode. Really fun. A little bit repetitive, but not really.
But there's not much time travel, though.
Well, I mean, Bateson traveled.
I know.
In the future.
And it's barely a scene. And we've said this several times. This episode desperately needed what started the book, the conference room, have the conversation. Because I would love to have seen these two actors tete for tete in a time travel scene.
Yep.
Or a sequel where, for example, like season 7, and you see the flashback to the scene that was going to come out after this episode, and then now he's in TNG costume, fine. But as a time travel episode, it's not that strong because there ain't much time traveling. This is a tease, right? And they don't use time travel very much. Like him being Wrath of Khan does nothing for the plot. Him being stuck does nothing for the plot, like where he's come from. There's no reason for that. It's just a happenstance of happenstance. So for time travel, I'm going to give it a medium.
You're going to give it a C?
I'm going to give it a C. Yeah. Because it doesn't do much time travel.
True. I mean...
But that one other scene would have done great guns. Or seen it from his perspective, like he was doing something normal and then zoom, now he's in the future or something.
I think this should at least be a B. It should at least be on the same level as Magic to Make the Saneth Man Go Mad, which is Discovery. And it's the same thing, it's a time loop.
Ooh. But that got points. It was going to be a C.
And that doesn't have any actual
points.
But that doesn't have any actual time travel in it. Then,
well,
really.
I mean, Stamets is time traveling. Because he's seeing time.
He's not though. He's not time traveling. He's just remembering the past loop.
But if you remember a loop, then you are going backwards in time constantly. You're always. I'm just saying, if you remember a loop, you are time traveling each time.
I'm giving cause and effect a B.
Okay, no, I did think Discovery was there. That does feel brutal, but that got points because it's Discovery, so it deserves some pity points.
Yeah, I mean,
that was a C.
Discovery gets some Discovery pity points. So. Yeah. All right, well, that's it for today, guys. There's still a lot haven't been mentioned, such as, I don't know, First Contact.
Sit in the object.
City on the Edge of Forever.
There you go, straight favorite.
2009, Tapestry.
2010. I thought we did probably half.
Look what we had. Look what we had set aside, too, and we didn't even use it.
That one we did. So
we already did it.
Probably about half the episodes, I feel like. That's probably a good half. We've still got some Voyager ones, still like Shattered, because they're time traveling between timelines. That's a really fun, weird one.
Yeah, Prodigy ones.
God, absolutely. Yeah. Lower Decks, if there's been any. Oh.
I don't think so.
No.
Let's close out the poll with
There you
90 votes, which is amazing, guys. Are time travel stories some of your absolute favorite Star Trek stories? Yes wins with 80%. I love you guys.
Yes.
No
100%.
with 20%.
100%, you're 80%. Beautiful. That's a lot of fun, guys. If you disagree, there's definitely part. I think there'll be a part 2 on this. And honestly, the more we put in there, we might have to contrast this.
Absolutely. Well, we got Carpenter Street, we got Carbon Creek, we got a whole bunch of time travel episodes. I mean, Carbon Creek's not really time travel.
Yeah, that's not time travel. That wouldn't count. That's a flashback story.
Yeah, that would be F, but still we're talking about
Period piece.
Yeah.
And actually, that would be worth doing, possibly period pieces. Because not even time travel is a period piece.
Yeah.
But that's a whole different thing. Beautiful. All right, so tune in for Saturday for our 10-year anniversary Trekyards Live. That should be a lot of fun. As we celebrate, as we reminisce, as we discuss the decade, Stuart. My goodness, and a thing we're launching. So tune in for that fun.
That's right. So until then, which will be a fun time, so join us.
Yes.
He's Commander Cocky.
He's got a Foley.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
It's
Doctor.
ironic. Hold on, before you leave. No, I got it. Hold on. We're just talking about our Saturday Drunkyards is celebrating 10 years of Trekyards, and it'll be ironic because on that live, we're going to be going back in our own history and looking at not all of them, a lot of our old videos and seeing how far we've come in 10 years. So it's time travel in and of itself. I didn't even think. Wow.
And speaking of Stuart, let's start this live. So we're going to rank our top 10 time travel episodes, starting S to F. So submit $5, put in your favorite, and we'll rank them.
Sam, we did this 2 hours ago. We have to go back in time and restart if we want to do it again.
Wait, so we have to do this again? Can we just do this again?
It's like a time loop. We have to go back.
I mean, you did make the funny jokes. Okay, but will you remember a third time the funny jokes? Do this again. Only one way to find out.
Let's push the time travel button.